If you don't see a PowerPoint on your screen, please say something in the chat and let somebody know so that we can help you with your problems. I am sure you're already in the right place, but if you're not, today we're just doing a little camp preview for middle school debate camp. So if that's not what you signed up for the policy debate camp, you are probably in the wrong place, but I'm sure you are all in the right place right now. If you haven't already, I'm gonna ask you to grab a pen and pencil, a piece of paper, and to make sure you're in a nice, quiet place where you live with strong internet so that we can just make sure everybody stays through the call the whole time. My name is Jake Swede. I'm the program director at Augsburg, and I'm the one who is going to be doing the first few minutes of stuff on the call here. But we also have Alex DeMar and Jenna Randerson. You want to introduce yourselves?
Hi, my name is Alex. I will be one of the lab leaders at middle school debate camp this year. I'm super excited to work with all of you, even though it's online. Yeah, so yay, I'm excited. Oh, and I guess I'm a middle school teacher, so that's my qualification to be working with you.
We don't hold that against her.
Yes, I appreciate that. Thank you.
Hi, everyone. My name is Jenna Randerson. I am the program coordinator with the Minnesota Urban Debate League, and I will be one of the other lab leaders teaching one of the groups at camp this year, and also super excited to be working with you all and see you all here today.
Great. So before we get into things, obviously we are using Zoom here. I don't know if any of you have used this before or if you use it for school or not. So this might be new for some of you. So just to make sure we're all on the same page, I want you to start by making sure your Zoom is full screen. So whatever device you're using, click on the window you're using right now and just expand it so that it's all full screen. Give you a minute to do that. Find it. Okay, that should be a pretty easy one. Now I want you to find the chat box down below. Click on the chat tool so that you open the chat window. And then in the chat box, I want you to write your name and tell us where you're from. You can just say the city or the state. You don't have to be very specific. And tell us what Harry Potter house you think you belong to and why. And if you've never read Harry Potter, then tell us what Avatar Nation you think you belong to and why. I'm not going to chat right now because I have to run this, but I will just say that I unfortunately think that I am a Ravenclaw, and I think that I would be Air Nation. So now you know a little bit about me, where I come from. Okay. I think some of you are still typing, it looks like, so I'll give you a minute.
Ooh, we've got a Slytherin in the chat.
Right on. Hey, that's the other one I would have chosen if I wouldn't chose Ravenclaw. I'm not cool enough to be Slytherin, though. I'm a normie. So.
I used to think I was a Ravenclaw, but I'm absolutely a Hufflepuff, and I've just had to I had to grow to accept that. So
Alex is like the prototype Hufflepuff. Okay, we got 9 responses in the chat. Pretty good. 11. We're getting closer. If you haven't put your response in the chat yet, just feel free to wrap it up. Get it in there. All right, cool. Okay. Now I want you to find the participants box, which it's for me, it's at the top, but for you, it's probably at the bottom of the screen, and click on it. And I want you to use one of the responses in there. So find thumbs up, thumbs down, speed up, slow down, break, wait, raise hand, yes, no, any of them. Just put any of them in the chat, in the participants box. Feel free to go wild with it. You can even change them up. See what they all look like. Nice, Ian, thumbs up. Got some raised hands.
got some yeses.
There we go. People are finding it, very nice.
Some coffee cups. Some people need a break already.
Cup. You know how it is. How many of you are done with school? If you're done with school, put a thumbs up in the participant react box. If you're not done with school yet, put thumbs down in the participant.
Oh, only 1 thumbs down so far.
Wow. Okay. All right, nice. Okay. We are not going to do the fourth thing because it looks like everyone's video is on. Um, if your video is on, make sure just keep it on. We're just going to continue streaming the whole time. So before we get into small groups and start participating, I know some of you are just have some general questions about what camp will be like. And some of you have been to the previous camps. Some of you are in the picture in the photo down below. So I just wanted to have a quick overview about what camp will be like and what it won't be like. So this year, it definitely will be online. We don't want to bring everyone together and maybe spread virus, cause problems. We're just going to do everything online. But that being said, it will not be like school. So some of you, I know for school, you just submit assignments, you get weekly assignments. Maybe you see your teacher every once in a while. It's really not going to be like that. We're going to try to have people on every day together as a community. We're going to try to be interactive. We're going to get everybody speaking together, working together. We're going to make sure it's exciting, and we're going to make sure it's challenging as it has been in previous years, and we're going to make sure it's fun. What's not going to be is we're not going to bring you out as individuals and do one-on-one stuff. We're going to keep it as groups. We're not going to give you tests. It's not going to be simple, right? We're not going to, just because it's online doesn't mean things are going to be super easy and simple. It's not going to be a step back, and it's not going to be boring. Today, as we go through the preview in Zoom, I just want to talk about a few ground rules. These are things that I'm sure you're all going to be doing anyway, but we should just go over them quickly just to make sure. First, again, this is not school, but we are going to use some school rules just to help make sure things are equitable and respectful. The first thing is to be respectful of others and of yourself, of course. So in debate, there's going to be a lot of different opinions on different things. We're going to talk about different parts of our life and experience. So even if someone says something you don't agree with or that doesn't track with your life, the way you live, that's fine. Just have an open mind and be respectful of what other people say about it. If you have a question, raise your hand in the participants window. Remember the participants button that we just used where you can raise your hand. If you have a question or a comment, feel free to do that, or you can also type it in the chat. And then the last thing today is I want to challenge you to be an active participant in your own education. If you don't participate, if you don't say things, if you don't challenge yourself and other students, this is going to be really boring for you, right? This is debate camp, and you should have opinions, and you should challenge other people's opinions, and that's where the real fun of this is all going to come from. So our plan today is to break into small groups with the lab leaders, me, Alex, and Jenna. We're going to get to know each other in those groups more deeply and interact a little more deeply. We're going to go through some exercises and activities to get a feel for what online camp is going to be like. We're going to do some Q&A if we have time, and then we're going to head out. So we have about 40 or 45 minutes left. So that should be plenty of time for us to get through everything we want to do. And then hopefully you should have some idea of what camp's going to be like and how it's going to work for you. So right now, I think Dave is going to break us into small breakout rooms. So you're going to see a box that appears on your screen that says you have been assigned to room 1 or room 3 or whatever. Make sure you just click accept, and you will be in that room with me, Alex, or Jenna. So Dave, you want to take it away? All right, click join if you just got a pop-up. Oh, they're going. There we go. All right. Hey. All right. So if you are in this room, you are with me. Good to see you all. I feel like some of you were at camp last year, right? Am I right thinking that? Calder, Amelia, I'm pretty sure you were. Okay, Sonia, your video is not on. If you can turn your video on, that would be ideal. Hey, there we go.
Hi.
Is Sonia there with you?
No, sorry. She
Okay.
has a dance class. I think she'll be done like at 12:45. I'm sorry. There's the
No, no worries.
Just wanted to be able to let her know what it was like. And
Yep. Okay, so we got 4 students, me and Sonia's mom. Sonia's mom, if you want to turn off video, that's fine. No worries. Today, we're going to do some just simple debate activities. Since there's only 4 of us, if you want to just turn your audio on, that's fine. Shouldn't be any problem. We're just going to do some small group introductions since there's only 4 of us. So what I want from you today is just your name, the grade that you are going into next year. So even if you haven't finished school yet, just the grade you're going to be next year. And then what fictional character you feel is most similar to you and why. So like I said before, my name is Jake Swede. I'm the program director at the Minnesota Urban Debate League. I started debating.
I'm going to open all the rooms again. Welcome to Zoom. That was an automatic setting. They'll reopen. My apologies.
Okay.
I don't know why it did that, but
no worries.
The toggle's been changed.
Okay, we're back. All right, do we have all our people? Yes, we do. Okay, good. I don't think we've lost anyone. All right, perfect. So I was saying, my name is Jake Swede. I joined debate when I was a freshman in high school, so you all have a head start on me. And I think this is my 14th or 15th year in debate. And the fictional character I feel is most similar to me is Professor Charles Xavier from the X-Men. Not just because he's bald and I'm also bald, but because his superpower is like not just being telekinetic and reading people's minds, which I can't do unfortunately, but his real superpower is that he figures out how to solve problems and make plans for the X-Men to overcome their problems. And I'd like to think that is also my superpower. So for my lineup, for who I have next, I have Zoe next. So Zoe, do you want to just introduce yourself?
Yeah, I'm Zoe. I'm gonna be in 8th grade next year. What fictional character do I feel most similar to? I mean, I feel like I want to say Hermione
Nice.
because amongst my friends, I'm sort of the one that's like, let's do the responsible thing. All my friends are like, no, and then I'm just sort of stuck with a group of friends being completely and utterly irresponsible.
That's tough. That's a great explanation, though. Thank you, Zoe. Calder, you want to go next?
My name is Calder. I'm going into 7th grade, and geez, I don't know.
It's not an easy question.
No, it's not.
It doesn't have to be a book either. We don't have to pretend we all read here. It could be video games or TV too.
Geez. My brain
Okay.
cannot think of like I can't even think of anyone. Like only 2 characters. They're not even remotely similar to me come into my mind, and I can't even. It's like, what video games have I even played recently?
Okay, how about we'll come back to you then. We'll come back. All right, Amelia, what do you have for us?
Amelia, I'm entering 8th grade next year, and I also cannot really think of a character necessarily. So, and I cannot remember the character I was going to think of their name. All I remember is that they're a character from The Boy from Tomorrow. They live in 1816, I believe, and they're the older sister of Cass, which is another main character.
Wow, that's very specific.
The book is interesting because it's about 2 perspectives in 2 different time periods, 2015 and 1815, I think.
Mm-hmm. What's the book called?
The Boy from Tomorrow.
Boy from Tomorrow. I've never read that. That sounds cool, though. It sounds like a good book. You want to round us out? Ian, you're on mute. Unmute.
Like, first of all, I didn't really hear what you said, and I was thinking, did he call on me? Well,
Yes.
I'm Ian, and I'm going to 8th grade this next school semester. And
Nice.
a fictional character that I would relate myself to would be Donald Duck, because sometimes I can go crazy and quite annoying at the same time.
That's great. That's a really good one. That's really nice, Ian.
Yeah.
Okay, Calder, you have one for us?
I feel like I'm kind of like Ron because I'm terrified of spiders. And I'm also like, do we have to? Guys, what if we just stay back here? I don't really feel okay.
Vaughn, what's Vaughn from? Who's Vaughn?
Ron Weasley.
Oh, Ron Weasley. Oh, 2 Harry Potter ones. Okay. What house did you choose for your Harry Potter house?
I mean, I took the test and I was Slytherin, so.
I don't hold that against you. Zoe, what did you get? You sound like a Hufflepuff based on what you just described.
I'm a Gryffindor.
Ooh, nice. Nice. Okay. So when we're actually at camp, the topic that we're going to be talking about is criminal justice reform. I have a lot of materials prepared about that already. We have the evidence for you all set and ready to go. But before we start talking into that, I just kind of want to know what you all know about criminal justice reform and what ideas you have about it. So if you've never heard that phrase before, you're not familiar with that phrase, that's fine. I guarantee you do know a lot about it. You maybe just don't know about it as talked about that way. So do any of you, have you heard that phrase before? Do you know anything about it? Amelia, unmute.
I guess I recognize the phrase, and I know quite a bit about it, but I can't remember what I know.
That's okay.
Which makes me hard to use this.
You'll get there. Zoe, you were nodding. You seem like you know about it. What do you know about it?
I mean, it's hard to like put a definition to the term. Like, the same with me. Like, I know a lot about it, but I just can't put it into words right now.
Mm-hmm. It's definitely a very big topic. There's a lot involved with it. Calder or Ian, either of you have conception of what it is? Want to say anything about it? Looks like Ian's saying no. Calder?
I kind of know about it. I know that it's like making our justice system more fair and equal to everyone.
There you go.
Make sure that everyone gets treated the same way in court.
That's pretty much it. Yeah, is making the justice system more fair and equal for everyone. So just based on what you all know, can you think of either examples or ideas you've heard about how to make either like policing or prisons or the legal system more fair or less inequitable? Or just some specific problems that there are with police or prisons or the legal system?
Like bail.
Bail? Yep.
People being like put in jail because they can't post bail and then they're stuck there for a while.
What's bail? Can you explain it?
It's like once you're arrested, then you have to post bail, which is like however much money it is, to get out of jail until your court date. And then, yeah.
Right. So when you're arrested, but you're not found guilty yet, there's that in-between period where you're in jail. Bail is the option to pay money to leave jail so you can go back to your real life, right? So if you can't pay for bail, that's a really big problem for a lot of people. They can lose their jobs, their houses, have problems with their family, all types of stuff, right? Amelia, were you going to say something?
Oh, well, it actually, prisons make money keeping people in prison. So I guess prisons like to keep people in prison because they make more money off them. And I suppose I really don't like the fact of the isolation that happens.
Mm-hmm.
Like people go mad in there. It's so good.
That's a really good point, right? Is if prisons can make money by having people in the prisons, then that creates an incentive for police and for the government to put people in jail so that the government can make money, right? So that seems like a pretty bad system. And then isolation is where people in prison are on their own and they can't see other people, which maybe is not humane. It's maybe unfair to them. Okay, any other ideas or examples of things that you all wanted to bring up about this topic? No? Amelia?
Well, this is pretty much all from Adam Ruins Everything. So, how people seem to think that being in prison makes you, people have certain stereotypes about being in prison, I suppose, and how you do not have an education, you can't ever get a job, or the way you appear, I suppose, stuff like that.
Yeah, for sure. So people who go to prison, like some of them, if you commit a felony, you can't vote. Sometimes it's really hard to get a job. Sometimes it's really hard to find housing. So even if you make one mistake and you're trying to get your life together or do better, that one mistake can haunt you for the rest of your life, right? So that seems like is that going to help people become better, or is that going to make them do things that are going to be more likely to be worse for them? So that's definitely something, those problems that we're going to debate about. I want to make sure we get to other stuff, so I'm going to just move forward a little bit. But when we talk about criminal justice reform at camp, we might talk about some of the issues on the screen, including police reforms about, like, you know, some people say that policing or people who police can be racist or can be bigoted towards people. So maybe things like sensitivity, diversity training, hiring more officers of color who represent the people that they police, disarming or taking guns away from your everyday patrol police so that there's less shootings, changing the use of force standards so when officers get to use their taser or use their baton or other things like that, or creating civilian review boards. I'm sure all of you are aware of the George Floyd situation that's going on and what happened to him. Obviously, I'm sure we all come from different places and have different opinions about it. So we don't really have too much time to get into it today. But if you're following the news, reading, or watching TV, I'm sure you've heard of a lot of these different reforms being talked about with response to what happened to George Floyd. So we're going to talk more about that at camp, and we're going to learn a little bit more about it. And there's also prison reforms and legal reforms that we're going to talk about, but we'll get there. Okay, so you've heard me talk for a while now, but I want camp and debate is really not about me talking and telling you what the world is like. It's about you talking and using your own ideas to come up with arguments and interaction, right? So today, for the rest of the period, we're going to do some actual debating, which is how it's going to be more at camp. And first, we're going to just have a mini debate about online learning, whether it's good or whether it's bad. And we're going to get all the ideas for the pros and cons of this debate. You're going to come up with them, and then we're going to break you into two different teams, and you're going to have time to write your arguments, and then we're going to actually have a little mini debate. So you all are online learning experts. You've been doing it for a little while now at your schools. So I want to hear what has worked for you and what has not worked for you. And we'll make this a live document so we can edit it together. So do any of you have a strong opinion on this, whether online learning has been good or bad, and what you want to say about it?
For me, at least, I do not like online learning. I like having a structure for my day. And I don't really have a structure for my school day anymore. And so like having to manage my own time and like create my own schedule, not my favorite. For sure.
Alder, if you have an idea or opinion, just unmute and go ahead and say it once the next person's done.
Okay, I like it. I like that I get to do my own thing at my own pace. It means that I get school done before an hour before lunch.
Yep.
It's that's pretty good. If I start at 9 o'clock and I finish at 11:30, I think that's pretty good for me.
Yeah, I think that's great. So would you say you have more free time to do other projects then?
Oh yes, 100%. I mean, that also comes from like not being allowed to go anywhere.
Yep,
So-
for sure. Ian?
Well, for me, our school, it still has 6 hours of learning each day. So it's not really any different from normal school. You know, we just have 1 hour for lunch. And so, I mean, the structure's there, you know, we still have the same schedule and same time. But I found out that the rate and the pace at which we used to go to has like decreased a lot. And so it's a lot slower. And I noticed that a lot of my friends, their grades, because like we share it with each other, how we're doing, and they've gone, like some people, they've decreased dramatically, and on my case, it's gone up, and I've been thriving academically.
Good.
So,
Good for you. So do you think the slower pace has helped different types of learners and hurt different types of learners as opposed to normal school?
yeah, definitely.
Okay. So we'll put less learning in the cons column, and we'll also put it slower, more learning in the pros column, depending on who the student is, right? Any other thoughts, ideas?
At least at my school, we have less like class time with teachers. Like we only have 20 minutes for like an actual class time. So there's less time to like ask questions and like go over stuff that you don't understand.
Yep. And I assume that's a con, that you spend less time with teachers, right?
Yeah.
Okay, let's make sure. Amelia, you want to jump in?
For our online learning, our teachers share us slides on Google Classroom, and we actually just watch videos. Pretty much during the entire time during online learning, I didn't see any of my teachers.
So I assume that's a con, right?
Yes.
Active.
We don't really get one-on-one time or anything like that, but we can send them emails.
Yep. So that's, yeah, we'll put that as less interactive, let's say with teachers. Any other thoughts, ideas?
Well, for our school, each class is 1 hour, but we just have less. We usually for 1 week we have 2 PE classes, but now we only have 1, and each class used to be 45 minutes, but now it's 1 hour, and so like the more, I should say, quote unquote, important. I know it's a very controversial topic to call, like, you know,
Sure.
math, social studies more important, but those got increased, and I think that's a good thing. But at the same time, the teachers keep everyone on mute so that they can just talk for the 1 hour. And so if you have a question, you have to raise your hand. But a lot of the time, the teacher doesn't really see that you raise your hand, and so you know you can't really ask questions. But at 3:30 when we end, there's a 30-minute time period from 3:30 to 4 that each teacher for every class has 30 minutes that you can log into their Zoom, and then you can just, it's kind of like just question time.
Yep.
And then ask them for notes.
Cool.
And so
That makes sense. So it sounds like, or Ian, are you from Minnesota?
yeah.
Okay. Sounds like your district is doing things a little different than everybody else's districts.
Yeah.
We'll see how that works.
Mm-hmm.
Any other ideas to throw up here?
My school does project-based learning, which is a lot harder to do online because like you can't do any like labs in science and like group work is a lot harder to do online.
That's definitely true. Yeah, that's a problem we had at my university, is basically all the science students couldn't do their labs anymore for the rest of the year, couldn't use all the equipment. So they did not feel like they were getting the education they paid for. Any other ideas? Any other pro ideas? A pro idea up here? One or two?
There's less people talking in class because
Okay, that's
all the teachers are just keep everyone on mute.
yeah, it's definitely an easier tool for teachers. That's for sure.
Oh, working in the comfort of your own home.
Yeah, definitely.
It's just more convenient for me to just stand up and walk around whenever I feel like it. And it feels a lot less awkward than if I were to just randomly do that in class.
Yeah. For me, it's a big difference to like get a snack or like something to drink between classes or even during class. I think it's been really helpful for me, actually. Okay, so those are pros and cons. We're gonna come back to these in a minute so that you can write them down before we break up into groups. But I just want to show you the structure of what our debate is gonna look like before we get there. So obviously we have 4 students, so we're gonna break you up into teams of 2. And it's good because we have 2 question and answer periods and 2 speeches. So we're gonna have the first pro speaker give a 2-minute speech, or you have 2 minutes to speak, spend somewhere in there. And then the con team is gonna do cross-examination of the pro team, and they're gonna test out the pros' ideas with questions. And then the first con speaker is gonna lay out the main ideas of the con side. And then the pro team is gonna do cross-examination of the con team to test their ideas. Then we're gonna have the first con rebuttal. So con is gonna do the first rebuttal. Since the pro does the first speech, the con will rebut or respond to their main points first. And then we're gonna end the debate with the first pro rebuttal. So the pro is gonna respond to the con's main points. Does that make sense? So everyone's gonna do 1 speech and everyone's gonna be able to do 1 cross-examination. So it should be pretty easy since you all have already debated before, right? Okay, and then before we get there, as you're working on your arguments, I want to just give you some ideas about how to write that out or how to think that out. So we're going to focus on 3 parts of an argument. We're going to talk about the claim, the data, and the warrant or explanation. Do any of you remember these from last year, vaguely? I'm not sure if we went over them in the courses you were in. Okay, so you already know how to do this if you've done the 5-paragraph essays, but we just want to make sure things are the way you think they are. So we have some example text on the right. I'm just going to read it to you. So let's pretend that this is your speech and it's about school lunches, right? So we say, school should only use organic food for lunch. This is good for 2 reasons. First, it would be healthier for students. According to the US Health Department, frozen food is less nutritious and contains more chemicals than non-frozen organic food. Nutrition is very important for students' bodies and minds. Also, chemicals in the food is bad because we don't always know what effect they will have in the long run. Second, it would taste better. Right now, most schools use frozen food that they reheat and combine to make lunches. According to a poll done by organicveggies.com, nearly 2/3 of customers prefer fresh food to frozen food. Better tasting food will make students more likely to eat lunches, which will give them the power they need for the rest of the day's activities. Okay, so that's a pretty simple little speech, right? And the 3 different parts we have in here are the claim, the data, and the warrant. So the claim is in purple. It's just what you're using to justify, to claim what's going on in the speech, right? So if I'm saying we should use organic food for lunch, obviously the question is why? And the answer is, well, it would be healthier for students or it would taste better. You'll notice that those are opinions, right? They're not supported by anything. So we need something to support those opinions. The support for those opinions is the data. So the data in here happens to be stuff that's cited from sources. So it's like, you know, the US Health Department has these guidelines, or a fact that schools use frozen food, or a poll done by organicveggies.com. Today, since we don't really have time to research, it's just going to be your own experience. So like Ian said before, he said, you know, some of his friends, their grades have declined from using online learning, right? That's a piece of data. That's a piece of evidence that you can use. You can use your own experience as data also, right? And then the last part is the warrant or explanation. So you might think that the data speaks for itself or it's clear what it says, but it's really not. You need to really tell your judge or the people listening how the data relates to the claim. So in Ian's case, we might say, you know, online learning is bad because it decreases people's learning or their grades. And one piece of data for that is that his friends' grades dropped as a result of online learning. And the reason they dropped is because online learning did not really fit their learning style, or it was too slow for them and they couldn't, it just didn't work for them, right? So the warrant explains how the data and the claim relate together. Anyone have questions about that before we move on to other things? I think this is how you normally write anyway, right? So shouldn't be a problem for you. Okay. So I want to give you a minute to, if you haven't already, to use your piece of paper and pen to write down some of the pros and cons. I think Calder, you were kind of pro already on this topic, right? So maybe let's make you pro. Anyone want to join Calder on the pro side of this topic? Ian? Okay, we'll have Calder and Ian on pro, and then Zoe and Amelia on the con. All right? Cool. So I'm going to give you a minute to just write down the ideas that we brainstormed together, because I'm not sure you'll be able to see my screen again once we get out of the breakout room. Okay, you still need more time to write these down? Oh, sorry, that's right in the way. Okay, I'll give you a little bit more time. Once you're done, feel free to just unmute and say you got it, or you have enough of it, you feel good about it.
Done. I feel good about it.
Ian, you feel good about it?
Yeah.
Okay, will you two, in the lower right-hand corner, there should be a button that says leave. Will you two click the leave button and go back to the main room and just tell Dave that you need to be sent into the other Jake room? Okay, I'll meet you over there when you get there. Okay, Zoe and Amelia. Do you two have written down everything you need written down?
Yeah.
Yeah? Amelia, you good? Okay, I'm gonna stop screen sharing then. So what I need from you two is to just figure out who's gonna be the first, who's gonna give the first speech, and then who's gonna give the rebuttal. And that way, when we get back together, we're gonna just go through the debate like normal. Both speeches are 2 minutes. There's no real difference. The first speech is just gonna lay out the main points. Then the second speech is gonna respond to the other team's arguments. So whoever does the second speech, you have to kind of guess what they're gonna say and get ready to respond to it. And whoever does the first speech arguments, you just have to get ready to say your main arguments. Does that make sense?
Okay. So the first one has to be strong and the second one has to be convincing. Do you think you're more convincing or strong?
I don't know.
I'll leave it up to you two to decide, right? I'm gonna go pop over to the other room and let them know. but at 12:50, we're going to start. So you have about 5 minutes to write up everything you need. Okay? Okay.
Okay. Okay. So I don't know which one I want to do.
No, I have not.
Okay. So Jake, neither Ian nor Calder are getting the receiving the pop-up notices to switch rooms. It worked earlier with some folks from Alex's group. There's no reason we can't use this room though.
Yeah, I think you should be fine. We'll just have to bring the other students back over to this room. Can you unassign me from room 1?
Sure.
Thanks.
Where do you want me to move you to?
Nowhere yet. Okay, so okay, I'll do it later. So Ian and Calder, so what I need from you two is to decide who's going to be the first speaker, who's going to give the first speech to lay out the main points, and then who's going to be the second speaker to do the rebuttal against the other team. First speaker is more easy. You just lay out all the points, but you are the first speaker, so it's tough. And then second speaker, you're going to be the last speaker, which is also tough. And you're going to kind of have to guess what the other team is going to say and then respond to what they say, right?
I'll do whatever.
Since I wasn't the best at debating in my team of 2 people, I always just win 1A. See, I was always 1A.
Yeah. Do you want to go first, Ian?
Yeah, I'll go first.
Cool.
And
Calder, go
also,
second.
do we still have the do we still have the time? I think it was was it 2 minutes?
Yep.
Yeah.
It's 2 minutes for both speeches.
Okay.
So it'll be easy for you. We're going to try to start at about 12:50. So you don't have too much time to prepare, but I'm going to give you a little bit of time. Calder, you have plenty of time because you're going to be the last speaker. So you're going to listen to their speech, then you got a lot of time to figure it out.
Yeah. Just gotta say why they're wrong.
Yep.
Pretty good at that.
Exactly. It's easy. You do it all the time with your parents, I'm sure.
Especially when it comes to tech.
Okay, I'm going to go pop in on the other group and see how they're doing. I'll be back in a little bit.
It's just in general much more difficult to really just place your schedule together and just sort of decide when you want to work.
Yeah, because kids don't want to work. We don't want to work. We want to do literally anything else. What was I writing?
How's it going?
Good.
Lovely.
Good, yeah. It's tough to do the first debate of the year, always.
Lovely. Many people are quite passionate about this, so hopefully I can steal a couple things from the pros.
Yes. And I think, like we talked about when we were brainstorming, a lot of these arguments cut both ways. Like the less structure can be good and bad, or like slower can be good and bad, right? So
what we're going to try and say is that it's easier for teachers to adapt to different kinds of learners when you're in a physical space, whereas you can only have one kind of thing for when it's online.
I think that's a really good argument. That's a great argument.
And the thing is, even though some people might be better working at home, you have been learning at school for years. And it's just more difficult to adapt in general, even if you maybe
yeah.
Even if you
who's going to be the first speaker on your team?
I'm going to be the first speaker.
Great. Okay, Zoe, and then Amelia is going to be second. Okay, so it's 12:50, so we should probably head back to the main room and meet the other group there, and then we can start the debate. So feel free, in the lower left, just click Leave Room, and then click Leave Breakout Room, the blue button. I'll see you over there. You realize that? Okay. So we are about ready to start here. It's 11:51, so we're at almost the end here. Can you all hear me? Yeah? Okay. It's telling me it's muted for some reason, but it's obviously not.
No.
Okay. So our first speaker here is going to be Ian. Ian, I know you're a little time crunched, but you have strong opinions about this, so I believe in you. I don't know if there's any way for me to show time on my screen, so I'm just going to start it on my clock and then just show it up. Whoa, it's backwards. Okay, well, I'm sure you can read it backwards. Time.
Well, it's not backwards.
Yeah, it's just.
For you?
Yeah,
It's not backwards for us.
Wow. The miracle of technology. Okay, so the rest of you, Zoe's first speaker, so you can just keep working on getting ready for your speech. But Amelia, you probably want to write down what points Ian makes so that you can respond to them. Same thing, Calder, when Zoe gives her first speech, you want to just write down her points so you can respond to them. All right, so Ian, you want to take it away?
Okay, is the negative team ready? Good. Okay, I'm assuming that you guys are ready. Okay. First, online learning is good, according to me, myself, and I. Online learning has had a positive effect on a lot of people, such as better grades and more focusing towards more core classes. And a lot of people have been saying that there are less distractions. And so obviously less distractions means more learning and more quality learning too. And also the teachers have also been coping with this, with the circumstance that we are in. And they also say that they also say that having students just on mute is easier for them to teach, and they can cruise through all the subjects that they need to go by. And I've also felt this myself, that being at home is a lot more comfortable, and I'm also getting a lot more sleep because my school is actually quite far away from where I live, and I always had to wake up early and get driven there. But now I can just wake up maybe like 15 minutes before, and I still, log in on time. And obviously everyone knows that sleep is beneficial for learning, and it's a major thing in, development of your brain, body, and mental state. And that's all I have for now.
Really good. Yeah,
Yeah.
20 seconds left, so just about right on time.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so now we have the first cross-examination of the pro team. So Amelia, since you were writing down his arguments and you're the second speaker, we're gonna have you do the cross-examination. So I want you to ask him some questions about what he said and try to show what problems there are. Now, I'll give you 1 minute here, okay? Go ahead.
Do I start now? Oh, okay. So you said before previously core classes, correct?
Yeah.
What would you say are not core classes? What would you consider not to be core?
Not that what I would consider, it's what the vast majority, and I know this is a controversial topic, but the core classes here would be science, social studies, mathematics, and any other language arts class that you take. And not as in physical education, music, and art, even though those are very important classes to me and I enjoy them. Just the mass majority and public would not agree with me.
Okay, you said previously less classroom distractions, correct?
Yeah.
So would those simply not apply to home?
You could have maybe a disruptive sibling that's right next to you, that's maybe in kindergarten, but oh, is that time?
That's time. You can finish your sentence though if you want.
Okay. But there's always that one kid in the class, and that kid in the class is most of the time me, and I can just disrupt the teacher and start talking, maybe make the teacher go into a fit, and that would cause negative effects in the classroom.
Okay.
Yeah.
Zoe, you are up first for the con team. We're gonna give you 2 minutes. You want to lay out your main arguments here? Tell me when you're ready
Okay.
and I'll start.
I'm ready.
Okay.
Online learning is not good for everyone. Online learning gives you less time to ask teachers questions and go over concerns. So although it may be better for some students, not being able to go over complicated topics or things they don't understand makes some students' grades slip, and it's harder for them to grasp complicated topics. Online learning also makes students create their own schedule. And while this may work for some people, many people have trouble creating their own time and finding time to work. This ends up with, especially for me, I end up turning in more assignments late than I did during physical, actual school. And I end up putting off work or avoiding work, and my grades end up slipping. And so instead of improving my grades, I spend more time trying to hold on to the grades that I had at the beginning of the school year. So the online learning also makes it harder to do group work and hands-on work, which is how many students learn best. So while there may, totally just blanked on what I was going to say. Group work and being able to ask your classmates questions is also something that you don't have while in an online setting. So being able to get the perspective of somebody in your class and somebody in your age group is lost now. Yeah.
Anything else?
No.
Okay, tell the judges to vote for the con team.
Vote for the con team.
There you go. All right. So now the cross-examination of the con. So since Calder, do you want to do the cross-examination?
Yeah.
Okay, let's do it then. Got 1 minute. Go for it.
All right. So you said that there are less time for questions for more complicated subjects, right? Yeah.
Yes.
Does that not is there not time like in a Zoom meeting to ask your teacher questions afterward?
There isn't. Especially in my school, we only have 20 minutes for time with teachers. And so often most of that time is spent waiting for people to join the class or going over the topic for the day.
Okay. And you said that it's harder to do group work, but can you not use Google Classroom to talk with each other? Because I know when I did Future Cities that we were given Google Classroom so that we could communicate very directly with each other.
You can use emails and texts and video chats, but it's not the same as being able to all work on a poster or a model together in the same space.
Okay.
Great. Okay, we're almost at 1. I want to make sure we get through these last few speeches. So it looks like we should have Amelia up now, right? Second con speaker. Yes. Bless you, Amelia. Okay, whenever you're ready. Although you are still muted.
So I just, it's rebuttal, correct?
Yep. You say all the reasons why Ian is wrong.
Okay. Well, this sort of ties to the question I asked you earlier, but less classroom distractions, that does not necessarily mean that there are other distractions at the home. I have a really annoying little sister, and she can mimic the most annoying person in class pretty clearly. Especially if I'm in a meeting, she does this terrible dance right in front of me. Sleep. At my school, they actually assign more homework. I have actually been getting less sleep than I would have at school. I go to bed at around 12. Before it would have been a stretch to maybe 11, but now it's 12. I wake up earlier too. So, to work on assignments before they're due, because my assignments are due at exactly midnight. So as long as I am done with them at 11:59, it is on time. Let's see. Okay, building on top of what Zoe said earlier, some people just have different perspectives in the way they learn, and it's just more difficult in general. Some people, even though some people may adapt better to this sort of environment, remember that we have been going to school and learning that way for about 6, 7, 8, how long you've been learning? Years. You can simply just not adapt very quickly. It's just difficult in general. And some of my teachers have Zoom classes with all their students. That's over 100 students in one Zoom meeting. Do you know how difficult it is to have a Zoom meeting with over 50 students? It's just very difficult in general to ask questions to the teacher and have them respond with other students in the same classroom at the same period. That is all. It is very difficult. That is all I will say.
Awesome. Thank you, Amelia. Very animated. Very good. Okay, so we're going to round it out with Calder then. Ready to go, Calder?
Yep.
All right, hit it.
So, at least in my school, the teacher, I haven't even seen my teacher for 3 months. Except, when they come over. I haven't seen them in an academic way for 3 months because I haven't needed to do an hour and a half of questions for Zoom. So our teachers, at least, give us the work. They give us how to do the work, and there's like a slideshow on how to do the work. And then if you have any questions, you email them. And then there's always an hour and a half every day for questions. And when there are only about 30 students in that class for those questions, you have a lot of time to answer your questions. The less structure, it really depends on who you are and what you've been doing. But for me and my friends, we have definitely, everyone I know have gotten higher grades because of the less structure, because we've had more time to unwind and, be able to get ready for the next day. And I have like 8 hours to do my homework. I have a lot of time to do my homework. And for group work, I feel like I haven't had much group work. Probably as a way to help with this, group work is kind of non-existent for me. There hasn't been any group work because the teachers know that it's hard to do group work. So they just they don't give us group work. It's not a problem for me. And that's about it.
All right, what team should I vote for?
Us.
Affirmative all the way. Every
Affirmative.
time. Affirmative.
Okay, so we're a little over time, so I'm not going to give you too many pieces of feedback, but I just want to say I think you all did a really, really good job, especially since this was, not a lot of preparation time on a topic that we've probably never talked about. So I just want to say great job to everyone. Super good job. I think everyone did a really good job doing the model we talked about where we said, make a claim and then provide data for that claim and then explain the data. You all did a really good job putting that all together and making it work. And then the last thing I wanted to say is that both rebuttals, Calder and Amelia, did a really great job of what they were supposed to do by saying, the other team said this, but here's why this is actually a problem, right? They say it's a good thing, but it's actually a bad thing that there's structure or that, teachers get more time or less time or it's slower or faster, stuff like that. So I think you all did a really great job. I really hope you all are at camp because I think we could do a lot of good work together. And I hope I see you later this month. Before we sign off, I know you all are on different schedules. I know my schedule's open for a little bit. So if you have any questions that you need answered about camp or about stuff we did today, I'm happy to answer those now. Or if your parents are listening, they have questions about camp, we could do that too. Amelia, it looks like you had a question.
No, it's just it's sort of to answer to Calder. That's your name, correct? I sort of just want to reply. Is that okay? Is that all right? Just really
Yeah,
quickly.
sure. Whatever.
I won't lose it. I don't.
Wait, for the rest of you here, for Ian and Zoe and anyone, if you have other stuff you have to do after one, if you have to sign off, feel free to head out. You don't have to be here anymore. But if you want to stick around, that's fine too.
Okay,
I have a bad feeling about this.
Don't worry, whatever she says, we won't post online.
I'm not as extreme as some of my friends, but I don't think I completely lost it earlier. But you said in the first thing that you can have question and answers. For the Zoom meetings, I have never personally actually been in the Zoom meetings that my teacher has, but I know that there is at least 50 students in a 20-minute time period to ask and answer questions.
Wow.
Do you think that is possible for someone that needs a long question, a long answer, to have a clear explanation in 20 minutes?
You could just email. You could email your teacher.
No, sometimes you need clear explanations. You need clear explanations by a teacher because sometimes it's difficult to understand. You need tone of voice, you need body language, you need to understand. And for a complicated question like one in science, it's just not simple and easy to have an emailed answer that's very clear. So you need clear explanations.
I have a recommendation for you. You should try and get Khan Academy.
I do have Khan Academy, but it's not very useful.
Khan Academy is controversial.
Yeah. It just depends on the sort of explanations you need.
Mm-hmm.
I also, question. What was that thing that you mentioned in your rebuttal? Because I live in Brooklyn, New York, so I have no idea. There was like a project you mentioned, and I have no idea what that is.
Oh, Future Cities. It's the best, except it's a very long group project where you try and design and do a city of the future. And it's 7 people, at least 8 people in the group, at least for my school. And you are all trying to come up with why your city is the best and most efficient and, best at the job and most creative and stuff like that. And it was good. It wasn't, the team, it wasn't a great team. 8 people working together, and they all really don't like each other very much. For about 5 months isn't a recipe for success.
It sounds like a cool
5 month
idea,
long
though.
project.
I mean, I'm sure it'd be really great if your team didn't all hate each other.
That's a problem, for sure. That is a
I
problem.
have more questions.
Oh, God.
I'm in Nobel, so this is what I do. Okay, so you said the students have more time to do homework, correct? You said that on your second opinion thing. Okay. Well, teachers assign students more homework because they have more time, which kind of causes a backward effect in the end. I have harder assignments. Especially for art, which is something that's very big in Nobel, which is a program I'm in. And it's more difficult to get assignments on time and stuff like that. It just is in general. So it's sort of a backlash in a way. You have more time, but you have more assignments, which causes you to need more time. So, and then grades slip and fall because of different learning styles in general. Although your friends may be actually getting better grades, everyone in Nobel I've been seeing now have, maybe half have D grades, possibly F grades.
How does that compare to how they were before, though? Were they D or F students before?
C, maybe B's at best.
Okay, so they're slipping.
Because Nobel is really okay. I go to Valley View in Bloomington, and we have a program called Nobel. Have you heard of DA?
No.
Okay, well you must live kind of far away from us then, I guess.
Okay, maybe. DA.
Where do you live? Where do you live? Do you live in Minnesota?
Yeah.
Okay, where do you live?
Apple Valley.
That's not
Oh,
that.
that is kind of far then. That is kind of far. Okay, I see now. Well, I live in Bloomington, and DA is basically math reading sort of thing, Nobel's sort of the opposite of that. It's more focused on arts and creativity. So
Yeah, that's not us.
yeah, so about a fourth of the class is everyone in honors. And then you have the other half, which is creativity.
Yeah.
And then you have the very few amount of people that are extremely creative.
Amelia, do you know from Valley View if you're going into Bloomington Jefferson or Bloomington Kennedy, or going to Edina or private school?
What? Could you repeat that, please?
Do you know what middle school you're planning to go to?
Oh, Kennedy, because that's where you continue going on with the program.
Nice. They have a
But
good debate team there.
my parents also want me to go Jefferson, so I might be taking switching, so I might be going Jefferson and Kennedy at the same time.
Oh, that's cool.
So.
Yeah, I know the person who runs Gifted and Talented for the district is a friend of mine, and she's really great. So I stay in Bloomington because they have a really good program, as far as I know.
Well, rebuttal to your rebuttal of my rebuttal.
Do you have any questions then? I
For
love
my
it.
school, my school at least, they actually, at first, they had less homework. And then apparently people still were having too much homework, so they lowered the homework even more. So we did not have this problem. We had a whole slew of homework cuts. Cuts, that's not even a thing, but homework cuts. It is now. And then for our again, like I said, our teacher has an hour and a half of it's really just, I think it's a difference of curriculum and how certain schools teach differently than other schools. It definitely depends, how your experience is 100% depends on what district you're in and what school you're going to and what they're doing.
Definitely.
Valley View has at least 200 students. So.
Calder, what do they use for online learning in your district?
Schoology.
Schoology.
And that's about it.
Yeah.
Schoology and the occasional Zoom on Fridays where we played bingo.
Cool. Okay. We're gonna have Jenna and Alex pop back on, and we're gonna talk a little bit about how things went. So I'm gonna have to ask you both to sign off, unfortunately, but you did a really great job today. Great energy. I really hope we see you at camp in a couple weeks.
Okay. Next time I will try to prepare a better, I'll see if I would actually.
You did a great job for the time you both did.
I'm in for it now.
I love debate. I love asking people questions and then watching them freeze in fear.
Yes. Okay, I'll see you later, Calder and Amelia. Have a good